Hey, everybody. Welcome. This is the 16th episode of Speedify Live. I'm your host, Alex Geesis. We go side by side for a little bit until Faith really starts talking here. So this is Speedify Live, and the goal of every show is to bring you interesting people who can help you up your game in live streaming and hopefully entertain as well. And, I think we nailed it again. Today's guest is Faith in the Glitch.
Greetings, everyone.
So he is a DJ. He is a producer. He is from New York. He's very big in synthwave and electroswing. And if you don't know what those are, I think he's going to talk about them in a second. So we're streaming live right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. I think we're streaming on his Twitch as well. Is that right?
Well, you seem live. I'm watching it right now.
All right. We're live. Oh my God. Stress is on.
All systems go.
So I'm with Speedify. It is, for those who don't know, it is software that runs in the background on your computer. It can be Mac, Windows, a Linux box, your phone, and it gives you faster, more stable internet because it's essentially a VPN that can use all your connections at once. So it connects on the cellular, it connects on the Wi-Fi. Now, if you have Ethernet, it'll use that. And voila, if one of the internet connections stops working in the middle of your stream, it doesn't affect anything because it'll just switch the other connections. And I think Faith in the Glitch is a big user, so hopefully we'll get some stories out here.
I order it by the year. So should you.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. So finally, since we are live, if anyone has any questions, just post them under the videos, and we will answer them during the stream. So Facebook, Twitch. We're watching them all, and so if you have questions either for me or for Faith, just post them, and we'll respond in real time. We're here for you. It's live. Elbow cough, elbow cough, elbow cough. Right. So, tell us about yourself. What are you up to? What's the vision of Faith in the Glitch?
Well, I'm Faith in the Glitch, and as you eloquently put it, I am creating DJ sets and musical experiences for people, mostly on Twitch, but occasionally on YouTube. Faith in the Glitch started when I was in grad school, working on electronic media, and quickly evolved into being my all-encompassing moniker for creative purposes. So.
Oh, nice. So people refer to you as working in synthwave, in vaporwave, in electroswing. You want to talk for a second about these genres, these subgenres?
Sure thing. I have a propensity to find the most niche genres of niche genres and wrap my whole identity around them. But synthwave, I got into around 4 years ago. And synthwave, for the uninitiated, is a form of electronic dance music that takes heavy influences from 80s music and recreating or utilizing a lot of the synthesizers, drum machines, and technologies of yesteryear and updating them with modern technology. And so I'm part of a collective, one collective, two parties in New York City. One, San Junipero, and the other, Night.Wave. San Junipero is more the fun kind of 80s beach, driving your Ferrari Testarossa down Miami kind of feeling music. And Nightwave is if a whole bunch of metalheads and hair metal people decided they wanted to make electronic dance music. That's what that party is all about.
Okay, cool.
Yes, Speedify Ryan, it is a Black Mirror reference.
So electroswing, do you think of that? How do you think of it? Like, is it a mashup of old swing and modern EDM? Is it just modern swing?
So there are
Like,
a lot of modern bands that are making swing music. I work with one that runs an actual speakeasy in New York City, but they consider themselves they're just a swing band, hot jazz band. Electro swing comes around when you incorporate modern music production elements. So it's kind of in a sort of cousin of synthwave insofar as taking inspiration from the past and updating them through the prism of our modern era. So yeah, like you said, incorporating elements of house, drum and bass, dubstep, things like that, and then incorporating some bits of Cab Calloway, or even collaborating with swing bands and making new music that sounds like it's remixed, but is actually intended to be that way.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of electro swing, and I went over and I visited my nephew Samir, who is basically he's into. By the time I learn about things, I find out that he's done with them normally. But I went over and he was playing this awesome music, and I was like, "What is this?" And he said, "It's electro swing." So then, I went home and started listening, and the next time he visited me, just horror as he walks in the house and realizes his music is being listened to by dorky old Alex uncle, as he calls me. So I assume he's moved on to something else, and I killed the whole genre for him. But
oh no,
I'm a big fan.
I'm sure they still love it. This is actually right beside me is our mascot for electro swing in New York City. This is a Lucy Liberty, and I'll take it down to show you guys, because this is a thing a New York City artist we had commissioned.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's Flapper Lady Liberty holding the record, dancing around. So yeah, that was the flyer for our first New York City party.
That's really cool. All right. So why do you live stream? Why don't you do the traditional, album releases or whatever?
Well, the very first and most prescient and obvious answer is events have been happening significantly less because of the COVID-19 situation. So that has been a very doing this has been very helpful in keeping my livelihood and skills up. But I've been streaming on this channel for 6 years now, and it initially started just as I liken it to kind of having like a gym buddy. If you have some people who expect you to go to the gym, then you might go. So I started streaming just for a couple of my friends, and if I knew that at least one or two people were expecting to be live at a certain time, I would. And because at the time I found myself not practicing unless I had a gig coming up. So my skill set was dwindling, and then that led to getting less gigs. It was kind of a feedback cycle, which actually feels a lot like going to the gym now that I think about it. But yeah, starting and at around this time, Twitch had just started a new music initiative. It had been exclusively for gaming content, and they really were allowing or encouraging music to start. And so I jumped on it and haven't stopped. I've only missed a couple Tuesdays in those 6 years.
So I've heard other artists talk about copyright issues and getting demonetized because some little sample in their mix sets off the content alarms. Has that been a problem for you? Or
it has been a constant battle, particularly with YouTube.
It's particularly with YouTube.
I mean, there was a lot of DMCA issues with Twitch, but I, knock on the wood paneling of my CRT TV beside me, haven't had any issue with DMCA on Twitch. I think it might be like how we mentioned before. I've chosen the nichest of niche genres, so generally most artists are just excited that I'm playing it and getting it to a wider audience. But YouTube, I've had lots of mixes I've put together. Almost none of the videos on my YouTube video are monetizable because I'm using other people's music to create DJ sets. But in the overall content generation workflow concept, I take IRL mixes I've recorded out in the world and sets I've done in this very room, put them on YouTube. People see them. Hey, come check me out on Twitch. And then the tools that Twitch offer really help to be able to monetize this project.
All right, cool. So let's talk about how you do it. What kind of gear do you use? Obviously, I think there's a lot of gear involved in what you do, right?
There really is. You can see. Oh wait, I over the wrong shoulder. There it is. So the primary thing you need to DJ is a DJing tool, turntables, a controller, what have you. So my centerpiece is the limited edition Pioneer XDJ-RX2. It's fairly expensive. I would say maybe mid-tier. You can spend more than what my car is worth on DJ gear, but this thing gets the job done and looks pretty cool because it's white. And then that's the DJing side of it. You can kind of see right above my head, I have my mic and effects unit that I use when we're live to add fun vocal effects, and it separates the DJ music from my voice. So when it gets uploaded later to YouTube, you can get the version without me talking all the time. All killer, no filler. Because I used to get a lot of comments on YouTube. Hey, the mix is great, but who are you talking to? Could you please kindly shut up? In maybe not as kind a way. You know how YouTube is. So yeah, I implemented that system, which is made possible by a TC Helicon goXLR Mini, which is a multi-channel mixer and also USB device. And that's how my voice and my music get into OBS, which runs on good old trusty Blackstack, my tower that is right beside me.
Okay, so OBS is the streaming software you use, huh?
Yeah, and then you can kind of see...
Is that the Streamlabs OBS or the open source OBS?
Oh, I use the open source OBS because there's a lot of innovative plugins and technologies that are staples to my show that are only available on open source OBS and not available on Streamlabs OBS.
Like what plugins or whatever are you using?
So one of the native features of OBS is an automatic scene switcher. So I have four cameras that are hooked up to a Magewell quad capture device, which is a PCMCIA card in my computer. So there's 4 cameras, and I don't have a director. It's just me, solo show. So I'm trying to monitor chat, mix music, pick songs, switch cameras was a bit more than my brain buffer can handle. So I use the automatic scene switcher, and every 2 minutes it just goes through each source for me, so I don't have to think about it.
Oh, that's cool. All right. So you're using Speedify as well?
So yes, there was a stream emergency that I encountered. And it was shortly after I built my mobile rig, which is a whole other system that's different from this. But I was on my studio system, and it was a particularly rough week of internet poorness. I don't know what was going on, but it was like a hard drop. Stream ended. Concurrent viewership halved or thirded. Is if you lose internet connection, even if you have a
brutal
dedicated,
how fast they go. Yeah,
they'll switch to Netflix. There's too many entertainment options. So I was sitting there like the first time it happened. What can I do? And I looked over at my backpacks of the gear that runs on Speedify. You paid for a year of it. You can use it on any computer or device. So I just pulled out my one of several hotspots I have, hooked it up, cranked up Speedify, and it has never been a problem since.
Boom! I love to hear that. I'd love to hear that.
I was like, I have the perfect tool already. I don't even have to pay for it. I already bought it.
I love that as well. So a lot of your videos and stuff lately, I've been seeing drone footage.
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
For Christmas, my wife bought me a DJI Mavic Air 2, and I had this.
That's the little one, right? It like folds up and fits in your pocket. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, it's pretty small, but there's one that's smaller. That's the mini. So I had to get this one for a very particular reason. So when I'm mobile for my show called Sunsets, this is my video switchers, the Blackmagic A10 Mini. Mm-hmm. You got 4 HDMI inputs. And I was thinking, like, how can I get drone footage? There's got to be a way to get drone footage into this video switcher. So I got this cute little guy. This is the Mavic Air 2. And all of the DJI drones are great. But I was a little sad to find that the one I needed to do what I needed to do was the one that cost more money. It's just the way it always goes. But the key to getting your drone footage into a video mixer in a live situation is where the real magic comes in. You have to get the recently released updated advanced remote, which costs, much to my chagrin, almost as much as the drone, but it has an HDMI output with very low latency. So I have a 100-foot HDMI cable that goes from this into my video mixer, and the drone pilot gets kind of as far out of view as possible, which, it's a wide shot, so they get captured pretty often, but that's okay. So those two devices in conjunction are the magic sauce to getting live drone footage for a reasonable price compared to a lot of what the pro live streaming events like major companies are doing.
Oh, that's awesome. So for anyone just joining us now, because I see a lot of people joining, on with Faith in the Glitch, DJ, music, creative, and we're live, so we're answering questions. So just post them in YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're watching, and we will see them and we'll answer. So when you go to these, most time you're in. Are you home broadcasting, or are you going out to places in Brooklyn or whatever, and live streaming from clubs and venues? Or
so I haven't had much of an opportunity to stream live events that I'm booked for in clubs, because normally I'm running late and am in a mad dash to get ready and almost never remember to charge everything I need to have charged to get the live stream going. But I do record them and post them later. But most of my live streaming happens in this very room. Sometimes I feel like I never leave this room, but that's okay. It's still a lot of fun.
It looks like a cool room.
I do my best. I got my Chrono Trigger art and lots of comics, and so I'm well entertained in this room. But for going out and doing the live show, that's happening once a month. We've taken a brief hiatus because we have to have location scouting. And one of the things we quickly learned is that whilst Speedify is a terrific product, you cannot manifest internet signal where there is no internet signal.
That's right.
So
we combine all the internet connections you can get your hands on,
but you got to get your hands on it first.
Get your hands on it, yeah.
So
exactly right.
I've been watching a lot of. I never thought I'd have this happen, but I've been following a lot of RV enthusiasts. I think because they have to bring their internet with them, and I've been turned on to a lot of check how good the internet reception is in a given area apps, So we check those then to make sure that at least there is something to get us going. So that's been a fun challenge, but I think we're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, RVs, I think they've sort of exploded in my mind, at least in popularity between the pandemic. I know lots of people have said, well, then I'm just driving.
Yeah.
Right? I'm getting out of here. I've had a couple friends buy RVs. And then second, they have such internet problems that there are lots of people in RVs are reaching out to me, right? And asking about using Speedify. That got me thinking about it.
Speedify bringing very disparate worlds together.
But every time I mention my wife and kids, the concept of getting an RV, they all just sort of stare silently at me for 30 seconds, and then somebody talks about something else, and they pretend I didn't say it. So I think that one's a non-starter.
Oh, I'm sure it'd be a lot of fun.
So another question: NFTs. Non-fungible tokens, these Bitcoin-related things where artists are encrypting art on the blockchain and selling them. Have you thought about that at all?
I have, actually. Incidentally, one of my friends and an excellent producer, Glitch Black, who lives right there, is the first person I ever heard of getting into NFTs long before Beeple sold his NFTs for however many millions. So the idea of implementing NFTs is a cool one. Haven't quite figured out what particularly will be the move for Faith in the Glitch, but it is a constant shower thought in my mind.
All right. First question from Mr. Urban World. So what are these Speedify streams about? I guess it's a question for me. We are bringing in Tuesdays and Thursdays interesting people who are doing cool things with live streaming in order to help everyone learn a little bit more about how they do it and help you up your game if you want to be a live streamer. So we've had everyone from people who live stream weddings, now we got the music thing going on. We've also had people from some of the software companies, like Melon App and Switchboard Live, on explaining, how their apps and stuff actually help you live stream.
Good question.
Do we not talk about Speedify software, or is it anything goes? Obviously, I try to work Speedify in a little bit, but mostly it's anything goes. If you have questions for Faith, go ahead and ask them.
I think it was one of the things you responded to me on with Twitter and the implementation of Speedify was DJ devices now are implementing streaming music from servers to your DJ controller, which then you play out to your audience. And I had worked with called Beatport Link. So you take music from their servers and mix it through your device as a conduit. But they're really pushing it as the next frontier for DJing, forgetting quickly that almost no clubs have reliable internet connection. That may change, but not anytime soon. So one of the first events we did, I actually used Speedify to be able to do that. So call me V. So you create synthwave, but what do you listen to? Well, I mentioned on the NFT question, my friend Glitch Black, who makes some really great visual art, but also is a terrific producer. But my favorite producers, the Midnight, Arcade High, who make video game inspired synthwaves. Street Cleaner makes really aggressive and fun dance music that might be the soundtrack to a gritty 80s cop thriller. And then we have one in chat, Warp Sector Music, who is a great producer. And shamelessly plug my friends, but this is his
Yeah,
vinyl
yeah.
he just sent me.
Plug away.
It's like it's on hand. So, and then my most favorite synthwave group is Lamatos, who actually produced the song that was my first dance for my wedding, and the song I played when I proposed to my wife.
Wow. All right.
And I could go on for several more hours,
All
but
in VR on the Quest 2. So this one's for you, Mr. Urban World. Hope you enjoy that. All right, cool. So what did you do before you were Faith in the Glitch? You mentioned you were a grad student.
So for most of my professional life, I've worked in television news as a video editor, graphic designer, and videographer. So I've spent a bunch of time in studios. I've also done what they call one-man banding, where you're the one person that goes out, you shoot, you ask the questions, you edit the video, and you send it back to the station. And that was one of the first soirees into using technologies that are used for live streaming. That we had a live view backpack, which was very cool until I asked how much it cost, and then I was really scared to drive around with it. Oh, this backpack costs $30,000. Don't lose it.
Yeah, that's the issue. All right. How do you find the reception outside of your digital audience to the less mainstream genres you play?
Well, that's a good question you ever asked. Good to see you again. So how do I find the reception of the digital audience? Let's see. To the less big. So a lot of the parties I play in real life are generally themed around those niche genres. So all the people that are coming to San Junipero or Nightwave or the Speakeasy Sessions, our electro swing show, are people who are looking for that. So they're in the right place. They're already stoked just to be able to hear this music that they don't get to hear too often outside of their own Spotify playlists. So especially in San Junipero, we were just in LA and we did a boat party on the Catalina cruise boat, and just completely losing their minds. So for a large portion of I've been DJing since 1999. So from 99 till about 4 years ago, I've been playing clubs, playing club music at raves and the like, and never did okay. Certainly nothing that you could make a career out of, but a lot of fun and met really awesome people. But it wasn't until I found something that is extremely niche to where I found a larger market. It seems counterintuitive that the more niche and the more small a market you get into, the higher chance of finding a bigger audience there is. But I have found that to be very much the case.
Yeah, that's like the Jonathan Coulton thing, right? I mean, his music for computer programmers
Yes.
genre. And, when the New York Times questioned him, he showed them his books and they came away saying, we're not going to give you the details, but yes, he's clearing more than $500,000 a year doing music for computer programmers.
Incidentally, we went to the same school.
Okay.
Maryland Institute College of Art alumni. What up?
Nice. Do you know him, or you just?
I don't know him at all. I had just heard after I got into Portal. They're like, oh, by the way, I was like, oh, that's cool. They graduated long before I did.
The trouble was, he was so angry about that big interview with him. It ended with, but there can probably only be one musician for the computer programmer genre. So there's really nothing else anyone can learn from him. He's like, what are you talking about? There are a million genres that size.
Just find a new niche. Find your niche. That would be
the article blew the point at the end. They just completely missed it. Anyway,
the article is a lie.
So what kind of what advice do you have for other people who are just getting started live streaming?
So
how do you do a good stream?
So primarily, this is true for both live streaming and DJing. The most important thing is to say or play things that are interesting. I know it's not particularly helpful, but you have to really think about, why would someone else want to watch you? Aside from the fact that obviously I certainly hope you think yourself as a cool and interesting person, but really putting yourself in the place of the viewer, and how can you bring value to people who are watching? So finding a niche, finding something you're good at, and bringing into your passion, and make that the crux of the content you're streaming. And then the other one is, don't worry about gear. Just get started, because it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad when you start. And that's fine. I can show you my very first stream. I have it right here. It is one webcam where I cut my head off, and it is my torso sitting at a grungy table in a basement apartment in New York City. But
everyone starts terrible, right?
But you'll never. It was like, was it Adventure Time? Sucking at something is the first step towards being sort of good at something.
Yeah, that's about right. So what kind of cell phone are you on? Are you iPhone or Android?
I actually just got a new phone from AT&T for free. So I have a Samsung S9 Plus, which is, I guess, pretty outdated and not very cutting edge. But I like it a lot because I used to have a Huawei 10 Pro 10, which doesn't support 5G, and kind of got stopped being supported by Huawei at all. So AT&T, I guess, felt bad and sent me a free phone.
Do they sell Huawei phones in the US?
They no longer do.
I bought one in Greece, and it was terrible. I got my pocket picked on the metro, and my iPhone was stolen. So I went out and bought a Huawei phone to use till I got home. And it was awful.
Oh, it was okay for the brief period that it was new, but once they got into shenanigans with being able to sell in America, and I guess there was some sort of embargo against them, and then they just gave up supporting, and the quality of the phone just tanked, and it was getting close to unusable. So
I'm sorry.
Even though this is not the latest and greatest, it is a light year improvement over my previous phone. And anecdotally, I guess not anecdotally, but my GoPros, of which I have many, I got GoPro Max and 3 GoPro Hero 7s, they require 5 gigahertz range to be controlled by your phone. So I couldn't use that function with my old phone. So I'm controlling my GoPros like left, right, and center now. It's great.
Oh, that's nice. So what are there any favorite apps that you're using on the phone that are in any way related?
There are 2 apps that I use every single stream, multiple times a day. One of them is the Philips Hue app, which lets you do fun things like change the color of your lights behind you.
Yeah. So the color of the lights in your room have been slowly changing throughout the.
Yeah. So that's been fun. But I also use an app called Touch Portal, which is it uses open web sockets on your computer to be able to integrate with OBS to do a bunch of fun things. So on my stream, on Twitch at least, you can accumulate a loyalty points system. So time that you spend in the stream can be used to unlock whatever the user defines. But normally they're things like highlight my message or unlock one of the emotes, a bunch of standard stuff. But with Touch Portal, it allows you to have your audience directly change things about your stream. So one of the things I can do
Sounds terrifying.
It is. You have to be very cognizant of how it will be abused, which I learned the hard way. I learned that the hard way. So right now, one of the things that you can do, I think you can see it on the screen. See if I can get my pointing skills going. Right there-ish in the corner of my room, looks like it's a camera on a tripod. That is actually a 90s era Sony camcorder that shoots on digital 8 tape. And that goes into a device made by an artist called Lo-Fi Future that is an audio reactive glitch video synthesizer. So it creates glitches that are synced to the music you're playing. And so people for 500 loyalty points can unlock the glitch cam, and it switches to that camera, changes the scene, and executes that mode.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay. You got it properly controlled.
The one that I had to retire was I had 25-pound weights, and for a certain amount of points I would do some curls, and I set those too cheap, and I wound up doing like 50 curls one stream.
Hey, that's good for you.
Doing
that's the health plan.
Doing 50 throughout a week, probably good. Doing 50 in a 2-hour stream, I couldn't move my arms the next day. So favorite all-time NES soundtrack, specifically NES. Let's see. Well, there was a game called Faxanadu for NES, and it had one of the coolest, like, you're in the town theme songs ever. It still gets in my head, and I love the soundtrack to Faxanadu. So favorite NES one, but my favorite SNES soundtrack is obviously Chrono Trigger, because I got my Chrono Trigger art right here. An amazing soundtrack.
Nice. All right. A lot of people excited by what you're saying. I'm not sure any of these are actually questions, though.
You never asked this stoked on Mega Man. Mega Man's the easy answer, though. All of the Mega Men are amazing soundtracks. My inner hipster had to answer a less known answer.
So I was listening to your track, "We're Going to War."
Yeah,
and as I close my eyes, I just keep seeing what's called Eon Flux, that early 90s cartoon. So I went back on YouTube and I found it, and it's terrible. It's unwatchable. The music is bad. It's hand drawn. They don't bother with backgrounds a lot of like there's this idealized Eon Flux living in my head, which is so much better than the actual.
So if you want good Aeon Flux, revisit the Animatrix. The Matrix is now like topical because of the new trailer that just dropped, but the animator of Aeon Flux did 2 of the short stories in the Animatrix, and one of my personal favorites is by the person who did Aeon Flux. Super
is it online
awesome.
Somewhere? My brother had the DVD way back when.
I have the DVD somewhere in the bowels of my outdated and forgotten media, aside from the literal pile of VHS tapes that are right next to me.
Yeah, I got rid of my VHS collection. Sorry, it just went in the trash.
Just proof positive. My beloved copy of Akira on VHS.
Oh, I love that movie.
I also had it on Laserdisc, but I don't know where that is.
I actually recently rented that. It's on Amazon Prime. If you pay $9 or something, you can watch it.
So I guess we'll continue the favorite soundtracks. Graphic Mercenary, who actually designed the Faithy Face logo that's on my shirt, asked what my favorite PlayStation soundtrack is, and that one is really easy. It's the game Rez, R-E-Z. It's a platform, like rail shooter that it's not a rhythm game, but everything that you do, the higher your score happens, the more complex the soundtrack evolves. And is a very big inspiration to me personally on the concept of my music, how to structure DJ sets, how to make music. Cool looking game, cool retro visuals, music is great. The closest to high art that I feel like a video game could be.
That's really cool.
The first Mega Man X was my favorite. The idea that you could upgrade your armor, and then Zero has a light sword, which is obviously the coolest. You want to make a character cool? Give him a sword. There you go.
So you gave one Streamergency story before. Do you think you have some more if I were to...
I do indeed. It doesn't. This Streamergency, Speedify didn't save the day because it is long before I knew it existed. But it might have if it were to happen again. But the power on my block went out one day, and there's no cell bonding or VPN in this world that can circumvent complete power outage of a whole block. But I busted out my phone and immediately went live on my phone for as long as the battery lasted. And I was quick enough to where we didn't really lose anybody. In fact, I think the connection didn't even really get lost for more than a minute. So I went on my phone, had the flashlight on because there was no light. I mean, it's nighttime. So I gave everyone a tour of my apartment, showed everybody the art on my walls, and went through my refrigerator. This is what always happens in MTV Cribs. So you want to see my fridge? All right.
Nice.
It was a lot of beer and hamburger and sandwich makings. Hasn't changed since.
So what are you working on next? And any big projects coming along here?
So one of the big things I've been working on is improving the mobile rig. So I mentioned earlier, in fact, let me try and switch over, see how smoothly I can do this.
All right.
But as you can see, I have a weird setup where my streaming computer is in a different place. There we go. A little bit of feedback, but this is the version 1.0 of our stream. So this is the DJI Mavic Air 2 that is wirelessly transmitting an HDMI signal. So you can kind of see me right there DJing with all my friends. So this was it's been an ongoing project that is never done. You can see there's a little bit of jittering going on. I think that is because of my laptop, but we're making a Speedify hardware device that my chief technology officer is working on. So that's going to be a Linux-based box that is going into the upgraded version of the video mixer that I have right now. I have the Blackmagic A10 Mini, but the Pro lets you go live directly from the video mixer via Ethernet. So when we get the Speedify box, we'll go directly to the video mixer. This is a different drone. This is my friend right to the left. He's an FPV pilot. So he has a analog drone that is about the size of a fist, and he can thread that thing anywhere, but it's analog. So we drop signal.
Yeah, you get that static. Yeah,
yeah, but I'm facing the glitch, and stylistically, I think it makes sense. But we're up.
This is cool stuff.
So we're upgrading his to a digital system. We're getting the Speedify hardware device, then the upgraded video mixer, and we won't have need for a laptop. We'll be able to streamline things down and have everything look more smooth. So that's the goal in the future. That's going to be a monthly thing. And then this is some shots of the device itself.
Nice.
So we got a bunch of USB ins and then Ethernet out. And he's going to be putting some hardcore antennae on this thing. And then this is another shot of it. And it's all solid state, so there won't be any problems if I have to carry it around. And he gave me these stats. So we're going to get 6 1 gigabyte NIC cards. It's a 3rd gen Intel Core i7, 16 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, and 120 gig onboard SSD. I think we're going to bump that up a little bit. And this is what it looks like on the outside. It's a CD case for scale. Hand and CD case for scale. CD cases are a thing we used to use to hold this obsolete media called a compact disc. So
wow. That's really nice. Yeah, I've talked about it before. We're constitutionally unable to make a Speedify hardware device here. We promised one of the co-founders that we would never make hardware in order to get her to join the startup, and now we can't do hardware no matter what people think.
Fear not, hardware is coming.
Yeah, hardware is coming, and that's our theory. Is we're putting it out. We've put it out on Linux, and I think other people will make devices. All right, we've got more questions coming in. So what exactly does the Speedify app do? Would it help these rooftop sunset streams? So Speedify runs in the background on your Windows, your Mac, your Linux, iOS, Android. It's a VPN, so it creates an encrypted tunnel back to one of our servers. But unlike other VPNs, it actually connects on every internet connection you have. So if you're on a phone, it'll use your Wi-Fi and your cellular. If you don't have Wi-Fi, you can have someone else with you, turn their phone into a Wi-Fi hotspot, join them, and now you've got 2 cellular on the phone. If you have a computer, you can have multiple Ethernets. You can use USB to even get multiple Wi-Fis if it's not a Mac. And so you can do cool things where you combine all these internet connections. It does give a speed boost, but the people who love us most are the people who talk about the reliability, about not getting kicked off.
And to answer the second part of your question, Luna, it is indispensable for the sunset streams and could not happen without Speedify.
Nice.
Particularly relying on the rooftop internet connections, because as the higher you get, the less reliable your cell connection gets. So we wound up running a I want to say it was like a 300-foot Ethernet cable from my friend's apartment to the rooftop, but we learned that you lose a lot of speed the longer it gets. We didn't really know that, but between I have unlimited data on this jetpack, which is Verizon, and then I've got this Nighthawk Netgear. And this one, I have it labeled on the back. This one is T-Mobile. And then this is my AT&T one. So we got all 3 networks. And then anybody who's running production, we plug in their cell phones. And then for the 2 Nighthawks, we have these, which are antennas. And these actually really help. But you have to look at those apps I mentioned earlier that tell you about your Wi-Fi reception. So you got to point towards where your nearest tower is. But these helped a lot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those Nighthawks look like really neat devices.
The Nighthawks are way better than the jetpack, but the Nighthawk is not supported by Verizon's network.
Okay. Yeah, we actually were reading specs on it a week or 2 ago and wondering if with the right set of cables, could you connect one of those into the lightning port on the iPhone and would it use it? I don't know if you've ever done that experiment.
I mean, this does have USB-C and USB 3 ports. I have never tried it, but
yeah. So then on the iPhone, you can get what they call the camera kit, and that gives it a regular Ethernet, a regular USB port, and then I think you might be able to just connect them with a regular USB cable. But I haven't tried it. I was just
I
curious.
I made my friend use a Ethernet to camera kit for their iPhone because they didn't have Speedify in Berlin and their internet was terrible. So they would stream from their phone to my RTMP server that I would ingest into my OBS and crank back out. But Wi-Fi on a phone, it's not that great if you're trying to stream in 720.
Yeah. All right. He's also working on a Speedify live streaming device. What video transport are you using? Are you doing RTMP?
So the Speedify device itself that is being assembled just boots directly into Speedify, and all it does is Speedify and nothing else.
Yeah.
And that Ethernet will go into a device I don't have yet, but looks almost identical to this. The Pro model is what we're going to upgrade to, and on the Pro model, their Ethernet port actually does something. I don't even know what it does on this one. It says control. Who knows? But anyway, in the Pro version, it has RTMP connectivity. So if you're using that, you're going right to the ingest servers of, for me, Twitch or YouTube or whatever. I hope that answers the question because I'm not sure what video transport is.
Yeah, it's probably the RTMP. Like Twitch, it just wants regular RTMP, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So I think that's the video transport. Oh, it's not a scale. Well, like here you showed cassette tape for scale. Boy, lots of scale jokes.
I did bring everything I wanted to show and tell within arm's reach. One other thing for show and tell. This is my Raspberry Pi that I put in my own custom in their own monitor housing back when I followed your very instructional YouTube video on how to go live directly from a Raspberry Pi, and it worked very well, and quickly realized that we needed some more robust technologies to complete the vision.
All right. Your Nighthawk is cool. Yeah, probably. Boy, the questions are coming in fast and I can answer them. All right. This is a softball from someone. What is a stream urgency?
Stream urgency. A stressful situation when one's live stream breaks down or cuts out unexpectedly.
All right. I actually did know that was coming. People having fun here at my expense. So that's what a stream urgency is, when things just cut out. I think you've already told two of these stories, so I'm not sure I'm going to put you on the spot here unless you have a third.
Well, it kind of harkens back to an earlier thing we said about just get started, because you can't predict stream emergencies. But what you can do is get better at dealing with unexpected things. So when you get started, you're going to be encountering these things all the time. And when I first started, I was both DJing and streaming from the same computer. And many, many times I would get blue screens of death, just absolute catastrophic stream failure. And it wouldn't be for a solid up to 5 minutes to where I could boot it up again, open OBS, get my DJ software. It was nightmarish. So that was one of the stream emergencies that I had to work with, is just troubleshooting and working what different combinations of webcams, USB devices, what settings of performance versus latency on all my different softwares. And it was just trial and error, lots of trial and error. And if it's something you love, you might be pulling your hair out, but once you finally get it working and singing the way you want, that's a kind of nirvana that you can surf until the next stream emergency rears its ugly head. But by then, you'll know more and you'll be better.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing. The getting good at just faking it when everything goes wrong. Right? Figuring out what you can do. And if the best you can do is say, hey, let me show you the inside of my fridge. You show the inside of your fridge, right? Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big difference between sort of the amateur and the pro. Is the pro is better at faking when nothing goes according to plan, right?
Yeah, things go just as wrong for pros as they do amateurs, and that's the mark of what separates the infants from the adults, I should say. But You Never Asked has a good question. How often do you DJ in meat space? Is there something you do on the regular, and how far are you willing to travel for a gig? Well, I just announced a new show in LA. So I'm going to be in LA October 22nd at a venue called 720 Warehouse, which I have come to learn that it's a very LA thing to just name your club after your actual address. But there's our flyer. That's the next time, and that's the San Junipero party. But then, so how far I'm willing to go? As far as someone's willing to pay for my flight. But more local for me, September 18th is the return of kind of the first party we did in the synthwave thing. Before San Junipero, we did a thing called Nightwave, which is at a venue called St. Vitus Bar, which is basically the CBGBs of heavy metal. It's a legendary venue for heavy metal. We're the first DJ night that they had. So we really had to convince a lot of staunch metalheads that DJing is cool. And it's no small undertaking, but we managed, and we're rolling. We're celebrating 40 years September 18th. So that's gonna be cool.
So did you do your usual music, or were you remixing metal for them?
I definitely have played Megadeth. I've taken acapellas of Judas Priest. I've played remixes of Amon Amarth. I really do try and remix or find remixes or make live blends of metal songs to try and trick them into liking the set.
Like candy to a baby.
It's like you distract them with the candy and you hit them with the broccoli. It's good for you. Listen to the rest of the synthwave.
So what social media platform do you spend the most time on? What's your personal favorite?
That's two different questions. What do I spend most of my time on? And which one do I like the most?
I do that a lot, actually. I realize I throw two different related questions out so people can answer whichever one they don't hate.
It's very, very different. I think my personal favorite is Twitter. I find the interactions of people who follow me on there and the people who I follow to always be a lot of fun. And I wind up finding a lot of professional opportunities through Twitter more often than other things. That might be because I follow more brands or gamer related things that I have kind of been able to parlay into music type things. Discord, is Discord a social media? I'm asking no one who's there, but if
I say yes.
I love
are not really.
They're trying to make it. They're implementing public servers and stuff like that. But if it counts, I love Discord. I have a lot of fun. I have one on my Discord server that's Show Me Your Art. I love to see illustrations people do or music or whatever people are working on. Just knowing people are getting creative out there. I love to see that. And it really, I don't know. It reminds me of the early days. I used to really be into BBS, bulletin board services, and actually going to a specific artist's website and going to their bulletin board. So there was a bunch I used to check back in the day, and it has a very similar feeling. So, and then Instagram is where I probably spend a lot of my time. And how do I say this without being gross? Whilst I am relieving my physical needs post-consuming caloric intake, the social media I like to watch to kill time whilst doing that is TikTok.
Okay.
Bathroom time. TikTok's a good time killer for that.
Fair enough. All right, we got more questions here. People are agreeing that Discord is probably social media, or at least social media-y.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. The one I never use is Snapchat. I've never been able to get into Snapchat.
Oh yeah, I got nowhere with it. I
The
couldn't even
social
figure it out.
that's for the Zoomers, man. I can't. I must be too old or something. It's not for me. And then I would say Facebook is the one I hate the most, but still use all the time. I hate Facebook, but that's where the people
I was
are.
I was the frog in the boiling water there. Like I really liked it at first, and then with every update, it got worse and worse and worse. And at some point, I was like, "Wait a minute, I hate this site. Why am I here? It doesn't make me happy."
The opposite.
So, you know, yeah.
The last thing that if you want to hear that synth Amana Marth, soundcloud.com/faith in the glitch, that mashup is on there somewhere. There's a lot of content on there, but it's on there. Yeah. But the final kind of nail in the coffin for the usability of Facebook for a content creator is the death of organic reach.
Oh, yeah.
They're charging small artists. I'm not rolling in dough. I am while Lil Nas X might be rolling in hundreds. I'm like, where are my dimes? Got some pennies. So, them asking me to spend $100 to make $20 on a Spotify playlist is absurd.
Yeah, we got in there and kind of built a huge audience really quickly just before they turned on all the small businesses and said that anything that's successful needs to be an ad. And they limited everyone's reach, and so we don't do much. I mean, we're streaming there now, but this is the main content going there.
Shout out to the Facebook watchers. We still love you.
We love you. It's not your fault. All right. Well, I guess we've actually been on for a full hour now. So, I think we're going to wrap up here. So, thank you very much to Faith in the Glitch. I think this lived up to the hype. This was awesome. I learned a bunch of things. Now I need to go out and get a drone.
I mean, if you want to spend less and you don't need the specific features that I mentioned, the DJI Mini is a fantastic drone, shoots great video, and is like.
But the missing feature is no HDMI out.
Well, the missing feature is it is not compatible with the advanced remote. So
the advanced remote's what has the HDMI.
That's what has HDMI out. Yeah, but the new FPV drone also works with the advanced remote, and it's living in my cart right now. The new FPV drone. I haven't not pulling the trigger yet, but every once in a while I bust open the Amazon browser and don't click it. Don't click it.
Yeah. All right. So anyone who liked this, we do it every Tuesday, every Thursday. Follow us, subscribe, like us, depending on which platform you're on. Click down there, and there's more content all the time. Tomorrow we're gonna have a little weird one at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm gonna be on Ecamm's Leap into Live Streaming Boot Camp, so we're gonna do a little preview there. The actual show is next week. And next Tuesday at 5 o'clock, we're having Doug Piper, beer expert. So he does all sorts of blogging about, live streaming about beer. He drinks beer. He hangs out with brewers. He did a fantastic thing with our staff, right? We all called in and did this, many way Zoom call with him. And he shipped us all the beers he was drinking. And it was a fantastic pandemic party. As we all hung out with Doug, drank beers. He told us, all about them. So he'll be on Tuesday. I think I'll actually be drinking beer myself. So I'll be a little different.
Well, I had a nice Goza margarita whilst we were talking.
Yeah, how was that?
It's very good. I never thought about getting gluten-free beer. I didn't really do it on purpose. It just looked delicious, and as I was leaving the beer store, I was like, "Oh, this is gluten-free. Well, I guess we'll figure out how it is." But yeah, I'll be there for Tuesday. That sounds like a lot of fun.
All right, cool. So I think that's it. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you all online.
If you have any more questions about live streaming, DJing, or whatever, I'll be live in about 3 hours. Twitch.tv/Faith in the Glitch every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Come ask.
I'll be there.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.